Good noon, all of you. I hope I'm clearly visible and audible to everybody. Right. So, today we have a session on Mission CAT 2022, right? How to score 99 percentile in your VARC section. Now, in case you are coming to this session for the first time, we've already had some sessions on CAT 2022 wherein I have talked about your approach to various question types in RC passages. Very important, okay? How you can approach various question types. So I want you to go through those sessions. Secondly, in one recent session, we discussed how to prepare for vocabulary when it comes to CAT, right? Because CAT does not ask you direct vocabulary questions. So why is it that you need to prepare for vocabulary? What kind of vocabulary you need to develop? We discussed those things in another previous session, right? So go through these previous sessions so that you have a context of what we are doing, right? And today, again, the focus will be on one aspect of reading. Okay. Good afternoon, sweetie, Sanil, Kiran. Okay. Good afternoon, Shilpa, Satish. Now, coming to what we are going to do today. So today I am going to talk about speed reading with you. Right. So in our previous sessions, we have discussed comprehension. We have talked about retention, how to retain what you read, how to retain it well so that you can attempt your questions. Today we are going to talk about how to read speedily. Okay. Why is it required to read speedily? That is all that we are going to discuss today. Okay. Hello, Ajinkya. Hello, Mani. Okay. So let's come to our session for the day. So from the previous class, I hope you remember that even in our vocabulary session, I emphasized that you need to read every day, right? So reading on and off, reading, let's say one novel in one day, but then not reading something for the entire month, that's an approach that's probably not going to work for you, right? Read every day, be consistent and read diverse genres. I can't emphasize this enough because if you pick up your previous year passages, you yourself will realize that your passages have been this medley of various genres, right? So, be it philosophy, psychology, sociology, business and economics, science and technology, you name it, and you've got that genre in CAT or ZAT or IIFT previous year papers, right? I hope you are preparing for other exams as well and not just CAT. So read diverse genres. It will benefit you tremendously, not just for your CAT exam, but also when you go to the second stage, when you go to your WATs, your writing ability tests, and you go for your PIs, right? So hope this is something that has sunk into your mind, something that you are applying every day, are practicing every day. Okay. Now, coming to what is the reading speed that is required from you. Okay, so see, the idea is, roughly speaking, there's no mathematical scientific calculations that I have done behind this. Usually you get 500 to 550 word passages in CAT, right? So it's very simple. The rationale behind approximately 250 words per minute. Usually you get 500 to 550 word passages. Our endeavor is, our aim is that you are able to read these passages, let's say one passage in about 2 minutes, approximately 2 minutes. Okay, because if there are four passages, let's say, and you read a passage in approximately 2 minutes, you will spend about 8 to 10 minutes in just reading your RC passages, right? Then you will require 8 to 10 minutes for your verbal ability part, which is your para jumbles and your para summary, right? So out of 40 minutes, half your time is gone. So you are left with, let's say, approximately 20 to 22 minutes for your questions, for your 16 RC questions. Okay, and that is something that you do require for your RC passage questions, and it's a comfortable amount of time to attempt your RC passage questions in. Right, so that has been my rationale to give you a reading speed when it comes to the specific context of CAT. Right, even for your other exams in RC passages, usually I have seen moderately lengthy RC passages in various exams, barring, let's say, IIFT, which sometimes gives you lengthy passages, or for that matter, SNAP, that sometimes gives you one lengthy passage, or sometimes that varies the passage length among various passages drastically. So otherwise, if you talk about MAT, if you talk about CAT, MAH CET, CMAT, moderately lengthy passages, right? So this is going to suffice for all those exams. And a college going student, okay, a college going student already has this reading speed according to various scientific studies. So I am not asking you to go beyond, in any sense, right? So now let's see what any queries are there, if there are any. Two more exams, uh, CET and CMAT. Okay. So that opinion, Shilpa, is going to vary on what you want to do. That should also be clear to you. For instance, if you're interested in international trade, then IIFT is the college for you. If you're interested in HR, then XLRI and TISNET are the colleges for you. So what is it that you're trying to achieve through an MBA? That is also going to govern what is the best college for you, right? Don't go just after brand names. Go for what you want to pursue in an MBA, what you want to get out of your MBA. Okay. Penny pinching, Ash. So the term is penny pinching. If somebody is penny pinching, that means they are miserly. They are conjuice, as we call them. Okay. Now, I hope this is clear to everybody. The reading speed that is required from you and what is the rationale behind it. And as I said, most college going students already have this reading speed. So you can check it for yourself. Just pick up anything from the newspaper today. Okay. Something that is, let's say, of 500 words, and see in how much time you're able to read it. You can time yourself using a stopwatch. Okay. And you will realize that, okay, approximately you are reaching there. Okay. A little less, a little more, but you are reaching there. However, having said this, see, the reading speed also depends on a lot of other factors, such as your familiarity with what you are reading, the difficulty level of what you are reading, right? So I cannot expect the same speed from you in, let's say, diverse genres. So somebody who is not comfortable with philosophy, let's say, might spend more time there. But the good thing is that your RC passages belong to diverse genres. So if, let's say, one RC passage in the exam is from such an area that you are not very familiar with, right, or that you do not like, so to say, right, then in that case there is going to be another passage that you probably like, that is from a genre that you're comfortable with. So you will save time there. So speed reading is a very dynamic process. Okay, you have to be smart about it. Just like when you drive on the road, you don't drive at the same speed all the time. It depends on the traffic, the condition of the road. Similarly, the same thing goes with reading, right? So be smart about your speed reading. Today, I haven't chosen difficult passages. The passages are of a decent level, something that wherein you will not find a lot of difficult vocabulary words, let's say. So you will be able to implement this reading speed today. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see our. Okay, before we begin, there are certain things that I want you to keep in mind. Certain things that you, on some level, already know subconsciously, but fail to apply at times, right? So, first is read with a relative sense of urgency. See, we read on our holidays also at times, right? We read at a very leisurely pace, sitting by the pool. Yes, but that sort of reading won't work for your passages. It won't work for your exams. So you have to read with a relative sense of urgency. Think that, okay, there are a lot of other things that I have to do after this. So let me just try to read quickly. I am not saying that in reading quickly, just don't try to understand anything. No, but yes, there should be a relative sense of urgency when you read. बहुत ही आराम से word by word reading shouldn't happen like that, right? It won't be fruitful like that. It won't prepare you for an MBA life. There you have a lot of readings, pre-readings, post-readings, homework, etc. You have to read a lot. So develop this habit right from now. Make it a part of your life. Now, read actively. Okay, a lot of times we are reading, but our mind is somewhere else. Yes, that happens. We are not concentrating. As a result, we have to reread what we just read. So, that is not going to work when it comes to solving RC passages because you have a time constraint there. You don't have this luxury to, let's say, let your mind wander off and then reread it. That sort of time is not available for you, and in long term also it won't make you effective readers. Effective readers don't keep on rereading, right? So avoid regression is going back and rereading. Avoid that. Okay. One psychological tip for this is that I imagine that the text above has disappeared. Once I read it once, I somehow imagine that, okay, this has now disappeared for me. So that always keeps me on my toes, that I have just once to read it. Right? Don't know how much it will work for you, but it works for me. Focus on the key ideas. You have to get this. You have to really, this has to sink in that you don't have to understand each and everything. Somehow our school life, our college life has prepared us in such a way कि सब कुछ समझना है, एक एक word समझ में आना चाहिए. But no, you just have to understand the gist of things. Because see, in life also, if you want to read a lot, if you want to read a lot of books, if let's say you are bent on understanding each and every scene, each and every word, then you'll be able to read a lot less than, let's say, if you are focused on the key main ideas, if you're focused just on the gist. Okay, and at the end of the day, it's the gist that matters, isn't it? Right? So let me have a look at the chat box now. Any queries that you have? Okay, I'll take up grammar queries later on. Right. Uh, okay. All right. So exam for an MBA in finance, see, there is no specific exam as such. In the sense, in India, you have CAT, you have other colleges exam. So you can actually see which all colleges you think offer a good MBA in finance and accordingly take those exams. There's no one particular exam. GMAT is more of an international exam. Of course, Indian colleges, many Indian colleges also accept it, right? If you want to go abroad, then yes, definitely you should take GMAT. Okay. So those are my 2 cents on it. Will knowing the questions first help in reading fast? Okay, so Sanil has a very pertinent question here. See, for some students, it does help, right? So these students read the question stems first. Okay, they get an idea of what is it that the examiner expects of them after the RC passage. So they read accordingly. Then, for instance, let's say one question is on the main idea of the passage. So now you know that you have to identify the key ideas very well. Let's say one question is from a specific section, from para 2. So then when you come to para 2 in your reading, you will focus more there. So reading the question stems helps for some students, but some students feel that because they're not able to retain those question stems, it doesn't particularly help them. They find it to be a waste of their time. So see what kind of student you are and accordingly make a choice. Okay, for CAT, I usually do not read the question stems first. I go for the RC passage first. It's only if on reading the RC passage, let's say I find it to be difficult, I then keep it for the end. And when I arrive at it at the end, I glance at the question stems a little so as to see, okay, easy questions hai isme. Then, I'll probably try to hunt the answers at least for those easy questions. So that's my approach for CAT, right? For exams which have more of direct questions, so let's say an MAH CET or a CMAT, there I tend to read the question stems first, okay, and then I go to the RC passage because I know इसमें तो hunting से ही निकल जाएगा काम, so I keep in mind those question stems and then read with that focus. So that's my approach. See what works for you. All right. Okay, comprehension is a problem. So Chetan, first of all, we had a session on comprehension, right? So go do one thing. Just when you Google in the on YouTube, when you Google, no, on YouTube you search, not Google, right? On YouTube, just search. If you search Nikita BYJU'S CAT, right? There will be a playlist that will appear. In that playlist, there are these sessions that I have taken so far, and it has all the CAT 22 sessions also. So one of those sessions is on comprehension, right? It will probably be called score 99 percentile in CAT or this VRC score booster. Most probably it will be called VRC score booster. So there I explained in a lot of detail how to enhance your comprehension, how to build comprehension first of all, right? So watch that session. If there are still any queries, then you can come back, right? Okay. Now, what is the next thing that you have to do? Okay, fine, you're reading with urgency, you're not going back, you're pretty focused, okay? You are trying to form a gist also. So, in forming this gist, what is going to help you is making a mental map of what you are reading. It doesn't have to be a fancy map, right? You just have to be able to read something that helps you in retaining the key ideas. So it could be a flow chart of sorts. If one point stems from the other, let's say A leads to B, B leads to C, that is the structure of the passage. So then this sort of a flow chart should come to your mind. Let's say A has two advantages, B and C, then this sort of a structure. So basically, forming a mind map of these key ideas sometimes helps. Okay, you don't have to draw anything fancy on paper. It has to be a mental activity, something that just aids you in retaining the key ideas. That's the whole point of it. Okay. And lastly, very, very important. Okay. A lot of students, they are not able to practice speed reading because the moment I talk about speed reading, a timer comes to their mind. In the exam, you have this timer, right? So when I tell students, okay, when you read, you can time yourselves, you can find out what is your comfort zone speed, where you need to reach. So the idea of a timer itself scares a lot of you, which should not happen. The timer is not your enemy. It is just to remind you that okay, there is fine, there are certain limits in which you have to operate, certain boundaries. But this timer can be your friend. It, however, takes time to form this friendship. It takes practice to form this friendship. So don't be afraid of the timer, right? See at what intervals does looking at the timer help you, and at what intervals it becomes detrimental for you, because seeing it too much will be detrimental. Don't start feeling nervous just because there is a timer running. It's a very natural human tendency. Okay, but think of it as something that's just a part of the exam. You will see it when it is of utility for you. Otherwise, you won't glance at it. Let it go. So, from your practice, you should be confident enough. Okay, as you practice, you'll build that confidence that, okay, I have practiced enough within the time constraint, so I will be able to complete it. I don't have to worry about the timer now. I have to focus on my RC passages and my questions. I have to read with a sense of urgency, attempt the questions with accuracy. That should be the focus. So don't be bothered about the timer a lot. That's my advice to you. And it is a skill that you build as you practice more and more, as you take more mocks, attempt more tests. Okay, so this is something that I wanted to convey. Now, coming to okay, let's see how we can be friends with time. Let's find that out, right? So we have an RC passage today. Okay, so what I've done is I've broken it into parts, this RC passage. So I'll just show you the first paragraph right now. There is a timer, of course. You don't have to worry about it. I have given you ample time to read at your comfort zone speed, right? So read this paragraph, and after this, there is a question which just asks you the purpose of this paragraph. Okay, a very general question. You just have to, in a sense, give the gist, the key idea of this paragraph. That's it, right? Can we do that? We just have to focus on the gist, not all the details out there. We have to. We have ample time, so we don't have to worry about the time. Let's see this paragraph now. Okay. So I was absolutely silent while you were reading, right? I wanted you to focus. I wanted you to concentrate. Now, I hope everybody's understood this. So I am moving. Okay, sorry. Sorry for that. So this is your first question. What is the main function of the first paragraph that you just read? Tell me. Your options are these. Okay. All right. Four responses I've got. What about others? Okay. Status quo means the existing state of affairs, the existing situation. That is status quo. Others? That's it? These are the number of responses? All right then. Let's go back. So, while when we try to read an RC passage and read for the key ideas, sometimes the descriptive words they help me a lot, right? So, for instance, uh, I'm saying in the 1950s, reading was taught to young children primarily through the use of simple primers depicting the middle class non adventures of Dick and Jane. There must be some characters. Rudolph Fletcher's best selling 1955 book, Why Johnny Can't Read, attacked these primers. So it attacked these primers. Primers are books that are very foundational in nature, children's books, introductory books, calling them horrible, stupid, insipid, tasteless little readers, right? So readers means books that are read here. Readings is what he means, and asserting that such boring stories. Let's say, in fact, if even if you think that, let's say till now I have just picked up these words: horrible, stupid, insipid, boring stories. Let's say I didn't pick up the earlier part. I've just picked up this. I know that this paragraph is critical in nature. It is criticizing something. What is it criticizing? The stories that prevailed in the 1950s. Criticizing the stories that prevailed in the 1960s, right? The 1950s. Sorry, I have this lack of space, right? And asserting that such boring stories give no incentive for children to read on their own and learn to sound out each word phonetically. Boring hai, bacche nahi padhe. Okay. Fletch also bemoaned, when you bemoan something, you again are very saddened by the fact that there was not a single book in bookstores that first and second graders could read by themselves. So even if you've picked up this idea that this guy Fletch in his book is criticizing the stories that prevailed in 1950s, even picking up this could have helped you answer the question. So what is the main function of the first paragraph? Now tell me. Is it A, to introduce Fletcher's approach to writing children's books? Did he write children's books first of all? Did he write children's books? Tell me. He just wrote a book called Why Johnny Can't Read. It was a critical book. It was a book that criticized these children's books. It was not a children's book. So this becomes factually incorrect. Factually incorrect. The answer is D. To establish the premise that the existing state of affairs in the early 1950s was not satisfactory for teaching children how to read. Okay, so because children couldn't read by themselves, okay, they were so boring that they didn't want to read it on their own and they didn't want to sound out each word phonetically. So that is what this book is trying to establish and not A. Now, C says to advocate the increase of children's books in bookstores. No, it's not about that, okay, the number of books are less. It's about the kind of books that were there. They were boring, they were stupid, they were insipid. Insipid is, again, tasteless, bland. So, it's not about the number of books. No. To describe Dick and Jane primers used in most schools, no, that's just a part of the paragraph, not the function of the paragraph. We had to give the function of the paragraph here. So now you understand that when you are reading, you have to pay attention. Fletch did not write children's stories, children's books. Fletch merely criticized them. Okay? I hope this makes sense to you. Yes, Sanil, you answered correctly and then you deleted it. I saw that. Good, Mihir. All right then. So I think now we've understood the first paragraph really well. Yes, we've understood it very well. So that will help us in our coming paragraphs also. Again, I'm giving you ample time for each paragraph, so don't worry. The question asked later on is the purpose of the entire passage. So it's again a main idea question. So just pick up the key ideas and you will be good to go. Okay then. Okay, so were you able to read? Tell me that first. Were you able to read the two slides? Yes, no, not completely. Okay. So, not completely. Again, see, that is something that I was expecting. So, how you were supposed to read it? How you were supposed to read it, right? So, let's have a look. Let's dissect it and understand which parts are important, which parts could be sped read through, right? So, in response, a publisher commissioned Theodore Giesel, who wrote children's books under the pen name Dr. Seuss. So, now this author has come in. He is writing children's books. He was commissioned to write a book a first grader can't put down. So, this was sort of a solution. Giesel was given a list of few hundred words considered important and asked to make a book out of them. 9 months later, Giesel, using only 220 different words, delivered the cat in the hat. Now, see, these are just details. These are details, all of this, right? A whimsical story about two bored children left at home with their talking fish who are suddenly visited by a havoc creating 6 foot tall talking cat. In addition, now this is important. In addition, Giesel wrote the entire book in a rhyming verse, making it fun to read aloud. So, this part is important here. You see, these were just details. These were details about the story. So the idea was that the idea that is being conveyed through these is that it was a fun book and it was even fun to read aloud. The Cat in the Hat was a tremendous success, okay, important, and vaulted Giesel into instant celebrity. Another publisher bet Giesel that he could not write an entire book using only 50 words. Giesel won the bet by publishing the classic Green Eggs and Ham. So that means he could write in very few words. He could write books that were fun and they were rhyming, so they were fun to read aloud also. Okay, these are the key ideas. So in response, Giesel wrote a fun book. It was fun to read aloud also, and he used few words that were important to children. So when you speed read, you could have actually sped through this portion here. And what happens is we want to read each and everything with the same focus, and that's why we are not able to complete. Okay. Slip of tongue while reading, how is that possible? To have a slip of tongue while reading. That happens when we speak. That's why it's a slip of concentration that is happening, not a slip of tongue. Okay. So now keeping this in mind, there are just 64 words on the next slide. I want you to read them focusing on the ideas, the key ideas, not the details. And I think this time you will be able to do it. Let's do it. Done? Were you able to read it this time completely? Tell me. Yes, no. Missed the last two lines. Okay. So if that is happening, see, my idea has been, I have timed all of these according to 250 words per minute. So if let's say you miss these two lines, I'm expecting by lines you mean this, right? So if you miss this, that means currently it's slightly less than 250 words per minute. Okay, 220 to 250 is something that I definitely expect, something that is needed, right? So it's okay because right now you're just starting to read within this time constraint, but yes, gradually now that you've got this knowledge that your comfort zone speed is relatively less, focus on reading with a sense of urgency whenever you read now, right? So today, when you read, try to read relatively speedily, a little more speedily than how you read currently. Okay, then okay, so Roosters has a query, if I read with such speed, I'll not be able to understand anything. Okay, so there are two parts to this problem. First is psychological, Second is yes, a speed based, a reading based concern. Why is it that some students think that when they read speedily, their comprehension suffers? It can happen. Yes, your comprehension can suffer if the topic is very difficult. If it is something that's very unfamiliar to you, you don't read such kind of articles. In that case, yes, reading extremely speedily and probably then, and particularly when your current reading speed is very low and you immediately try to read very speedily, then yes, your comprehension suffers. But a lot of pieces are actually not of this type. Just pick up a very normal newspaper article today, something from the front page. I'm not even asking you to pick up an editorial. See if you have this kind of speed there. Or wait, don't compare it with this. See what is your reading speed. See what is your current reading speed. Kitna words per minute is your reading speed. Find that out today. Just use a stopwatch and see how many words you're able to read with comprehension. So that is your comfort zone speed. If it is significantly less than 250, let's say if it's 150, if it's 100, then you really need to work on your reading speed. If let's say it is coming 200 right now, touching 200 right now, then you need to work relatively incrementally harder. Okay. However, a lot of part of this problem that, when I increase my speed, my comprehension is bound to suffer. A lot of part of this problem is psychological. We have been somehow brought up this way that we have to understand each and every word so as to be able to understand a text. No, it's not necessary. See the first sentence. I already told you this when we were discussing the key ideas of the last paragraph. That he wrote fun children books, engaging books with a limited vocabulary. यही है ना इसका key idea. We discussed this in the previous paragraph itself when I told you the key ideas. So you had to concentrate. Of course, after getting this, you had to concentrate more on this. So he replaced them with clever rhymes. अच्छा rhymes अभी बताया था वो rhyming use करता था. Plot twists, rebellious heroes. So I'm just explaining now how his books are engaging. So even if you don't read, let's say, each and everything out of this, or you don't remember each and everything out of this, that's fine. Okay, you have just got an idea that he created engaging books with a limited vocabulary, and that's why he's now every children receives his title as his or her first book. So that's why he's extremely popular. Engaging books, limited vocabulary, extremely popular. तो ये एक वन लाइन, ये एक फ्रेज था, ये सबसे ज्यादा क्रूशियल था यहाँ पर, राइट? एंड यहाँ पर ये प्रॉब्ली ये लास्ट लाइन, दैट्स इट. सो योर कॉम्प्रिहेंशन इज नॉट गोइंग टू सफर इफ यू प्रैक्टिस स्पीड रीडिंग स्मार्टली. इफ लेट्स से व्हाइल रीडिंग यू रियलाइज अच्छा ये एक्सप्लेनेशन है, ठीक है, ये मैं ज्यादा स्पीडली पढ़ सकती हूँ, ये आइडिया है, अच्छा इस पे फोकस करना है. Okay, and initially it will look like okay my comprehension is suffering, so don't on the very first day when you begin exercising, on the very first day don't start picking up 40 kgs, right? That doesn't happen. So don't do that with yourself also. Incrementally your comfort zone speed itself should go up. The idea is not कि हमें जल्दी जल्दी हड़बड़ाहट में पढ़ना है. The idea is our comfort zone speed itself should incrementally go up. Okay, so what can you do for this? So today first of all find out your comfort zone speed. Let's say it's 200 words per minute, or I find it better to look at it like this. I pick up a fiction book, okay, and I see, acha, I am able to read one page in 1 minute. Let's say that's my reading speed. So the next day I try to read a little more than one page, even if it's just 2 lines. I'll try to read a little more than one page. Okay, then I'll practice it for a couple of days. Then after that, I'll try to read relatively, slightly more than that. So keep on challenging yourself incrementally, and dheere dheere, it's a slow process. It requires consistency. Gradually, your comfort zone speed itself will go up. The more you read, the more this will happen. Okay, and the more you concentrate, again, the more this will happen. All right. Then, okay. Some questions here. Trick to read newspapers. You can apply, Tushar, you can apply all these tricks that I'm telling you. They are very relevant for newspapers as well. All the tips that I gave you about speed reading earlier. Okay, so Om, try doing this today. Implement the things that I've told you and focus on the key ideas, right? If let's say you are not able to understand something, find out the why of it. Vocabulary में problem हो रही है, इसलिए ऐसा हो रहा है. Or let's say I am not aware of this issue at all. I'm reading about this issue for the first time. That's why this is happening. Third, I am not concentrating enough. That's why this is happening. So see what is the problem. The solution differs accordingly. There's no one size fits all solution for this. Okay. Movie ke niche captions. Yes, so all of us do that, right? We are able to read those captions. Yes. So, and we read them speedily. We concentrate also, not only just on the captions, but also on what the actors are speaking. And we're able to do that. We're able to understand. So, my point is that on reading speedily, it's not necessary that your comprehension suffers. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Now, what do you want me to repeat? Yes, I need to know that. Question 2. The primary purpose of this passage is to what? Okay, so we have read this passage now. Recollect what all we read in these 3 paragraphs and then attempt by eliminating. Yes, tell me. Connect all the 3 paragraphs. Okay. Sunil, Roosters, Ash, Suraj, Harsh, Laveen, Football Goal, The Wish Sailor. All of you have said A. Absolutely correct. So see, now when you connected the paragraphs, it makes sense to have A as the answer because the first paragraph talked about what was the condition of the children's book industry in 1950. And then I say in response, Giesel was commissioned by a publisher. And in the third paragraph, I say he revolutionized the children's book reading industry. He revolutionized that. So, of course, A has to be the answer and not D. I'm sure you must have narrowed down to A and D. It's not just about the popularity of Giesel's books. It's about that there was a gap in the 1950s in the children's book reading industry. Giesel's writing was a response to it and revolutionized that industry. Okay, so A is our answer here. Very good. All right. So, practice speed reading at home. I have told you how. Basically, practice target based reading. Right. So, when you give yourself targets, in incremental targets, just like we do weightlifting, the same way it has to work. Right. Okay. So, I hope you are finding value in this session. Right. And it will help you in reading speedily because that is important. I'm not saying that you have to acquire reading speeds of 800, 900 words per minute. That is not required for your exam. But you should know how to read with a relative sense of urgency and how to read for ideas and not a lot of details. Right? So do like the session if you found value in it. Right? Do comment, share, subscribe. Now, after this, we have another passage. This time we are going to read the entire passage at a stretch and then look at the questions. In case you want me to make you peek at the question stems, we can do that as well. So just to show you, there is a primary purpose of the passage question. Then this question is specific. The impact that Plato's visit to southern Italy in 390 BC had on his later works. Okay, so this talks about Plato perhaps. Now some of you must be thinking, अरे ये तो philosophical passage लग रहा है, मुझसे तो नहीं होगा. So this sort of thinking is detrimental. You yourself will find that even though it talks about the philosopher Plato, it's a very, very easy passage. Okay. What can be logically inferred about Sparta from the passage? Which of the following books is not attributed to Plato in the passage? Not attributed to Plato. Plato ने नहीं लिखी जो. Sparta के बारे में कुछ. Plato's visit to southern Italy, the impact that it had on his later works, and the primary purpose of the passage. Now we can come to our passage, I hope. You've seen the question stem. Great, Sanil. Great that it's working. Let's begin. Again, I've put a timer here. Try to be smart about reading. Pick up the ideas. Okay. It's okay, again, because this is your first day, it's okay even if you are not able to, but you have to actively try. Okay, start. I hope you've been able to read, and this time you tried to focus more on some things and less on the others. So, based on your understanding, can you tell me what is the primary purpose of this passage? Eliminate. Let's see what you say. Okay. B or D. So, roosters, think a little more between these two. So far, I've got 3 Ds, 1 C, 1 A. 4 Ds, all right. Others? Yes, roosters, what do you think? Is it B or is it D? The wish sailor says A. Of the entire passage, we have to give the purpose of the entire passage. Okay. So the passage begins after Socrates, that what happened in Plato's life after Socrates' death, right? So he established a Socratic school of thought. He wrote for a while, right? He wrote some books. Then he went to for fight in the Corinthian War. Although people are not sure about it, but it is said that he fought in the war. Then he went to Egypt, where he learned the secrets of the water clock. Then he went to southern Italy. In southern Italy, he met this guy, Archytas of Tarentum, apparently, and this guy had a profound influence on his later works, right? So this is all that has been detailed in this passage. And now see, I didn't go back to the passage. I have retained this from my reading of the passage because I was focusing on the key ideas. Achha, yahan gaya, yahan gaya, yahan gaya, right? That's what I was counting in my mind. Okay, so some of you are correct when you say D is the answer. D is indeed the answer. So good. Harsh, Minar, uh, Laden, Ash, Shubham, okay, Kiran, Vineet, good. D is the answer. Now, why not A? Because a lot of you have said A. Isn't A just the last paragraph? It is just the last paragraph, not the entire passage. The entire passage talks about so many more things. The visit to Egypt, the visit to the fight in the Corinthian War, the setting up of school, the writing of various works. So, no, A is narrow to be the primary purpose of this passage. D is the answer. Okay. Describe what is known of Plato's life from the time of Socrates' execution until Plato's visit to southern Italy in 390 BCE. That's where we ended the passage, isn't it? That this was the last visit that we've talked about. So D is the answer here. Okay. Now B and C, chronicle Plato's military exploits. This is just the second paragraph, a part of the second paragraph. Then circumstances surrounding a part of the first paragraph, and the circumstances have not even been detailed. So this is in a way wrong also. So D is my answer here. I hope this makes sense. See, that's how making a mental map. मैंने तो बस list बनाई थी this time. A list sufficed. That's how making it works. Helps. Now, according to the passage, which of the following best describes the impact that Plato's visit to southern Italy in 390 BCE had on his later works? Yes. What is the impact? Direct question. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. A, D. That's what I've got. Try to recall what you read in the last paragraph. I can take you back also. In the exam, you have that option. But try to recall. What did we read about? When he met this guy, uh, Architas or whatever, Tarentum, whatever his name was, what influence did it have on his work? Did it make his works more tragic? Did he have military experience in southern Italy? He didn't have any military experience in southern Italy. His military experience was in the Corinthian War. Southern Italy mein, he was influenced by the Pythagorean concept. Okay, A is the answer, not D. All right. That's okay. See, Ladin, that's fine. If you go back in a direct question, in fact, I sometimes suggest students that you go back to ensure accuracy, right? So I was just trying to test your retention. That's why I didn't go back. But in direct questions, if you have even an iota of doubt, just go back and cross check. You have that kind of time in the exam. See, for 16 questions, if you have 22 minutes, that means you have more than 1 minute per question. So it's a comfortable amount of time to read all the options, to eliminate, let's say, two of them, to even go back and cross check and then eliminate the remaining one option. It's sufficient time. So A is the answer, correct? Okay, and most of you said A only. D, no. Tragedy, not given, alien. Military experience in southern Italy, not given, again alien. Okay, there's only one correct answer here, and it was a direct question. Now, let's go back in this one, okay, so that we know how to go back, how to check. It can be logically inferred from the passage that Sparta. Okay, something about Sparta. Read the options once. Can you eliminate one of the options here? One of the options can be very easily eliminated here. Which one is that? So how I would attempt this in the exam? I will read this. Okay, I'll read the options. I'll eliminate what I can based on my memory. Okay. Or one thing that you can do, if you do not remember anything about Sparta at all, then you can first go. Then you can first go to the passage and then eliminate altogether. So whatever suits you. Very good, Laden. So Sparta was not responsible for the execution of Socrates. Execution तो पहले ही हो गया था, right? Execution has been talked about in the first paragraph. Sparta is mentioned in the second paragraph. So read this part. Okay, read this part. Okay. So I hope you've read till here, decorations stuck. Now, based on this knowledge, let's go back and attempt this. Yes. Let's see what you say. Okay. Tilak says D, Ash says D. All right. Rooster says B. Others. Come on, there's no negative marking here. Minar says B. Gavish Taylor says D. Ladin has changed his answer. D. Is it? Others. Om says A. Sanil says B. They've got everything. A, B, C, D. C we eliminated. Achha, no, okay, okay. ठीक है. Got you. C was something that we eliminated, right? So A, B and D. Tell me something. Can I infer A and D? First of all, if I go back, during this same period, it is speculated that Plato did a 2-year stint between 395 and 394 BCE with the military. It is speculated, so we aren't really sure about it. So it is not known for sure if he did indeed fight in this war. तो ये पक्का भी नहीं है. अगर ये पक्का ही नहीं है कि उसने वॉर में फाइट करा था या नहीं करा था, then can A be the answer? That Sparta was overthrown during the Corinthian War because of Plato's involvement. We aren't even sure about Plato's involvement. Then how can A be the answer? Yes. A should have been eliminated outrightly the moment you read that we aren't sure whether he indeed fought in the war. Coming to B and D. It was a military state constantly at war with its neighbors. Can we infer this from the information that is given to us, that it was in constant war with its neighbors? So what happened in this war? Athens and a collection of other city-states, they banded together to overthrow Spartan rule. They banded together to overthrow Spartan rule. So when do you overthrow something? When it is ruling over you, right? So they are trying to overthrow Spartan rule. Athens and other states they banded together to overthrow Spartan rule. That means Sparta ruled over them. So Sparta ruled over Athens also. And what is the time? Between 394 and 395 and 394 BC. So that means this war, ये 2-year stint with the military है. जब ये कॉर्निथियन वॉर हो रही है, दैट मीन्स इससे पहले स्पार्टा ने रूल किया होगा एथेंस पे. स्पार्टा मस्ट हैव रूल्ड ओवर एथेंस प्रायर टू 395 BCE. That is something that can be inferred here. Constantly at war with its neighbors? No, they are not neighbors. They are not neighbors at all. Sparta is ruling them. Sparta is ruling Athens. B is the answer. Okay, so good. Those who said B. This was something that did require, first of all, comprehension of that paragraph and then elimination. Very, very important. So read your options carefully. Okay, always do that and eliminate in inference questions. Okay, the last question, easy question, direct question. Which of the following books is not attributed to Plato in the passage? Okay, so I'm taking you to those areas where books have been mentioned. So on the first slide, we have talked about some books. Find out where. Right. And then in the last paragraph also, I have talked about Plato's book. Again, I hope you found out where it is. So then eliminate. Yes. So in the first paragraph, we talked about, in the first paragraph, we talked about 3 books. Laches, Protagoras and Apology. Laches, Protagoras and Apology. In the last paragraph, we talked about the book Republic. So these 3 have been talked about. What should be the answer? A. Fido. Okay. Good, good. Minar, Sanil, the Wish Sailor. A should be the answer here. This was a direct question. And here your retention was tested. You should at least know कि कौन से paragraph में जाके hunt करना है. This geographical retention should be there. Right? That where is it that I have to go? If you don't remember that, then you will be just left hunting throughout the paragraph. Okay? So, easy question this one. And these were some questions from this RC passage. Okay, 4 questions in total. I hope this helped you to understand how to read the passage, how to read for key ideas, what all can you, let's say, speed read over, how to eliminate, right? And our key takeaways from today's session are: reading fast does not translate to reduced comprehension. A lot of this issue and view is psychological, and we have to work towards eliminating this psychological bias. Make reading with a sense of urgency a way of life. Whenever you read something, read it with a relative sense of urgency, right? Try to be efficient in whatever you do, particularly in your reading, and this will automatically come in, right? I hope you will implement what we have learned today, and I hope you like the session, right? I will see you next tomorrow at 12 p.m. So tomorrow is an MAH CET sentence improvement session. I forgot this yesterday when you were asking me about my schedule. I was looking at my May schedule. So we are definitely meeting tomorrow at 12 p.m. and we are going to do sentence improvement. Okay, a grammar topic. All right. And yes, this is something that you're already aware of. You can explore this further by calling our counselors, okay, on this number. And you can stay connected with us. You can even follow us on Instagram. A lot of happening memes are posted over Instagram, okay, in this channel, in this on this Insta handle, right? And you can stay connected if you want to stay connected with a lot of other students who are preparing for CAT and other MBA exams, right? So, welcome all of you. More lectures for CET are coming your way, Roosters. Don't worry, the entire month of May, most of June is dedicated to CET, right? Welcome, welcome, Sanil. When can I show the schedule to you? I'll do one thing. Tomorrow, I'll bring a slide. On that slide, I will write down my May schedule. Okay? I'll show you the entire May schedule tomorrow itself at 12 p.m. ठीक है, I think Shriyans that will work. Welcome the Wish Sailor. Synonyms, antonyms, okay. Vocabulary, we'll include vocabulary. Good Bin Laden. Good to know that. Thank you all of you. See you tomorrow. Bye.